right. Call to order the October 11th, 2022 meeting of the North Andover Planning Board. Pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2002, this meeting of the North Andover Planning Board will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.northandoverma.gov. For this meeting, in-person attendance of members of the public and board members will be permitted. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting live may do so on their televisions by tuning to Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 26, or by going online at www.northandovercam.org. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we aren't able to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of North Andover website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceeding as soon as possible after the meeting. If members of the public would like to participate in any public hearings, although we don't have any tonight, but not attend the meeting in person, please email your question or comment prior to or during the meeting to Jean Enright at JENRIGHT@northandoverma.gov, and the question or comment will be read during the proceeding and responded to accordingly. We have 2 members here. We have 3 members participating remotely, so I'd ask that we call roll, please.
Yes, Peter Boynton.
Here.
Eitan Goldberg.
Here.
Kelly Cormier. Okay.
I don't think Kelly, neither Kelly nor Alyssa can hear. I can hear, but my video doesn't work.
Okay, so we're having some challenges. Okay, John, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Alyssa and Kelly, you appear to be on mute.
The 617 number is Brian Fraser from CAM. I can hear everything fine too. So I'm just kind of on monitoring the call. Just make sure that the quality is okay.
So 2 remote members cannot hear Brian.
From the call side, it seems fine. So they might have to dial out and dial back in.
John, could you hear that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I can hear well. No problem at all.
Can you hear them, John?
Yeah.
You can hear Kelly.
Oh, no, I can't hear
Okay.
Kelly or Alyssa, but I can hear the room.
Okay, so I just asked Alyssa to sign out and back in. We'll see if that works.
Yeah.
Alyssa, did that work? Doesn't look it.
Alyssa, can you hear? Kelly, can you hear?
No, it doesn't appear they can.
Okay. Brian, any suggestions?
Emily, you can come down to the bottom. Come down to the bottom of the stairs, and I'll give them to you.
Kelly, we could hear you. Jack Sullivan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
So they're both muted. Do they have to unmute to talk?
I can hear everyone.
And we can see you and hear you.
So I'm asking Alyssa to unmute.
John, I just called in on the phone. Did you say you were having trouble with video on your end?
Yes, correct. I can hear, but I can't, my camera won't turn on.
So Alyssa, can you hear now?
Kelly or Alyssa, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. I'm
Okay.
good.
So you were muted. You just unmuted, right?
Yes.
So now we have to get Kelly to unmute. Jack, can you hear us?
I can hear everybody.
Okay. Can you text that to Kelly, please?
I just did. If we have the remote, this TV will turn back on.
Can anyone on the call hear me?
Kelly, I think we can hear you.
I heard you, Kelly.
I heard you faintly. All right, Kelly, can you say something to us?
She has to unmute.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Okay.
So headsets?
So
Yeah.
you were just muted, I think. So if we get any, Alyssa, you're muted now.
Yeah, I can't.
Sorry, we had to disconnect our headsets. It's not working with headsets.
Okay.
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 But
So.
All right, let's call roll again.
Okay. Eitan Goberg,
I am here.
Peter Boynton,
Here.
John Simons,
Here.
remote. Alyssa Koenig
here remotely.
and Kelly Comier,
Here.
remotely.
Okay, remotely with no headsets. Okay, apparently that low high tech, I guess, is what's working. Okay, 137 Andover Street, Stevens Coolidge Estate. Request for a release of a $10,000 performance bond, which was posted to ensure construction, erosion control, and measures and performance of any other condition contained within the decision will take place in accordance with plans and to ensure as built plan will be submitted. That doesn't seem proper, but okay. Request for release of a $10,000 performance bond.
Okay, so the site plan approval allowed for the repurposing of an existing 24-foot by 60-foot shed to become a visitor center, parking for 61 cars and associated landscaping. They previously submitted an operations report.
I'm sorry, Jean, I can't hear you at all. It's too quiet.
Maybe just move the microphone a little closer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear that?
That's a little better.
Okay, so that might be a volume issue, but, okay, so all I did was I was describing what the site plan was granted to allow for a 24-foot by 60-foot shed to become a visitor center, parking for 61 cars and associated landscaping. The previously submitted operations report, construction record plan, and engineer certification letter are included in your packet. At the July 19, 2022 Planning Board meeting, the applicant submitted required operations report, requested a waiver of the required photometric plan, and requested release of the performance bond. At this meeting, John Simons expressed concerns regarding visibility of parked cars while driving along Andover Street, suggested a low hedge buffering of the cars would be reasonable and appropriate under special permit. The board opted not to waive the photometric plan and felt additional photos 6 months apart would be helpful. So,
And Kelly, do you need to recuse yourself on this one?
Yes, I'm recusing myself.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. And John, you and I and Jean went and took a look at the property and the specifically with an eye towards the plantings and the screening. Do you want to just kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we went out there one afternoon, and I was actually very favorably impressed by the amount of work that they did, the amount of thought that they put into it, the amount of screening that they did. I think I had some initial concerns, but they kind of explained to me exactly why they did what they did and what they were going to continue to do. So from my perspective, I think they've done a good job and deserve to have the bond released.
Okay, thank you. And can we put up some of the pictures just so that everyone can see them? maybe?
I don't think I can because it's the images that I can't see how to cast them.
Okay. So, John, like, good.
Gene, are those on the additional pictures
Yep.
tab?
They're attached to the agenda under additional pictures.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to additionally see them just now,
So I'm looking at them. Can somebody, there's only 4 or actually 3 photos?
Hold on, I can do it. Hold on. Just took me a minute.
do you want to come?
Sure. I don't think I recognized you with the beard.
Well, I've always had one. It's just I forgot to shave maybe for 6 months, so it's a little bit longer than normal.
Okay, so this picture is the end of Wood Lane. Then, Jared, you may want to describe this, but it's, I don't think I can rotate it. These are additional plantings above and beyond the site plan.
Sure thing. Yep. So I'm Jared Bowers. I'm the property director at Stevens Coolidge, and so what we've done here is just added some additional plantings. So since we last met, we've added a few more trees to help screen the parking lot from Andover Street, and this is our plan to add even more. When we walked the property with the three of you, we identified a couple gaps that we told you that we wanted to plug, and so those are the gaps up there. We've already planted additional trees since we last met with you, and this is our plan to plant even more that will help obscure that view almost entirely from Andover Street. Yep.
And as John said, it seemed pretty well thought out, like where the trees were kind of in relation to each other in the different rows, so that there were still some gaps where, so that the tractors could get through to do the mowing and things like that. But it was kind of, they were at different angles and different places, so that there was screening, at least in different locations, to kind of prevent as much as possible.
Absolutely. We still maintain those fields as a cultural landscape and as a sort of field based on its historical use. And so the screenings or the type of plantings are in line with that. So there are gaps where we can enter to mow the field to keep that down, but also to still provide that screening. So as you said, it's sort of tapered off in different sections for each one.
That's a good word.
This is just an example of the screening we did of the sort of HVAC system at the back of our Gateway Center, just to make it look more natural, like the barn that's always been there.
And if I remember correct, that's above and beyond the original site plan approval
was,
as well,
yeah.
but at the abutter's request.
It was a request that we met with, yeah.
And the same here for these trees, kind of between the HVAC and Wood Lane.
Just some additional plantings we've done, yeah, at the end of Wood Lane, in between a couple of our abutters there.
Okay.
Okay, so I have received comment via email of 7:03 today. I don't know if you want to have any discussion amongst the board before entertaining that.
Where?
It's in my inbox, literally, came in at 7:03, so.
Okay. Do you want to just
Sure.
read it?
So this was received at 7:03 from Kelly Cormier. Hello, Jean. This is for public comment tonight. All the same issues still exist as stated in my previous email. Thank you, Kelly Cormier, 169 Andover Street.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. So, I mean, again, we're doing the bond release, and again, the bond release mostly dealing with the screening. There was a request to waive the lighting. We denied that, so we will get the photometric results later on at the appropriate time. And I would just say, we'll vote on the bond release. Just continue to work with, the abutters. And I know sometimes different abutters have different comments or different perspectives and different things that they want. But you don't have that many. So just try to work with them as best you can, especially regarding, noise and lights and things like that. Especially as we get into the holiday season. I know the Christmas is one of the bigger times that you guys have. So just try to be mindful as we go through that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
John, I scrolled through Kelly's previous email that was entertained
Yes.
at the last meeting, so I have scrolled through that for what the additional comments were.
Okay. No, I do recall those.
And we included the photometric analysis in, as an attachment in our last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
we had that done since we last met.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Okay. Well, I know, we did look at the visibility of the parking lot. We did review the plantings at Wood Lane. We did look at the planting buffers. We did review that. The access and the noise. I think especially more things, the select board has kind of focused on. And we do have the photometric plan, so I think we've at least done what we can to verify what we've been told. Okay, so given that, and I'm not sure that there's anything left to do on this one, I'd entertain a motion to release the performance bond.
So move to release the remaining performance bond, yes.
Second.
And seconded. All in favor, we'll start with the remotes. So John,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
Peter,
Aye.
and I vote yes. Okay, thank you all.
Thanks very much. Have a good night. See you.
Okay, 327 Salem Street, John and Lynn McLaughlin. Application to divide 327 Salem Street into 2 lots. The property is located within the R3 zoning district and the watershed protection district.
All right, so this is an A&R submitted to divide 327 Andover Street into 2 separate lots.
327 Salem Street.
327 Salem Street, I'm sorry. I wrote Andover Street in the staff report. The proposed plan meets the minimum lot area, minimum frontage, and access to that frontage. Included in the meeting packet is A&R, which was endorsed in 1981, but never recorded. Since 1981, the zoning bylaw was amended to include a provision for contiguous buildable area. The definition of that is included in your meeting packet. However, the subdivision rules and regs specify contents of an A&R plan should include the CBA for each lot. The building inspector interprets the zoning bylaw provision to mean that the land within the buffer zones to the wetlands should not be included in the 75 CBA requirement. The proposed A&R does not exclude the land area within 100 feet of an identified wetland and therefore shows the CBA as 100% for both lots. As always, there is a required statement. The planning board's endorsement of the plan not requiring approval under subdivision control law is not a determination as to conformance with the town of North Andover zoning bylaw. So that is included on the plan. I'll bring the plan up in a second. Attorney Don Bornstein is here representing the homeowners.
All right. When do we hear from you, Attorney Bornstein?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Ms. Enright. With me tonight are Mr. and Mrs. McLaughlin. They lived at the property for a long time. So we are looking for the A&R endorsement. We understand there is some concern from the building inspector regarding CBA compliance, but we are expecting the A&R plan to be endorsed with the note or condition that Jean has just referenced, that it's not signifying compliance with the CBA requirement. So we would ask for the board's endorsement with that notation, understanding that we will have to visit that issue with the building inspector in the future.
And I would recommend that the reference to CBA equal and 100% on each of these lots be removed with a note added. So note number 4 would specify that the CBA has not been calculated or not been determined.
Okay, so let's walk through our A&R. So we have our frontage is on Salem Street, correct?
Yes.
All right. And we have enough square footage for lots. We have access. So it meets the general A&R requirements, fair to say? The state law requirement.
Yes, so it has adequate frontage of 125 feet. 25,000 square feet is the minimum lot size in this area, and access from Salem Street is a known public way.
Okay. So the only issue then is our subdivision rules and regulations require 75% contiguous buildable area.
No, but that's part of the zoning bylaw. It's not our planning board rules and regulations.
Correct, but it's in the subdivision rules and regs as a content required on the A&R plan. So
Yeah.
Right.
But the 75 is a zoning regulation, so.
No, I understand that, John, but
Yeah, okay,
but
yeah.
generally, I don't think we could actually just rely on a zoning regulation because we're not actually certifying that this meets zoning.
No,
So-
I agree with that. Yeah. No, I
Right,
agree.
because it's in our subdivision, I do think we can go above and beyond the state regulations in terms of A&R, in terms of saying what's required on the plan. So I think it meets the definition of an A&R, but the CBA, where on the plan it says CBA equals 100%. I agree that that needs to be removed.
Yeah, it has to be.
And there should be, because
I-
it doesn't meet
Just,
it here.
just for curiosity, are the wetlands actually on the property?
They're not.
Well,
If you could see the
It's
screen.
off, so
Yeah.
the building inspector is saying that the buffer zone shouldn't count.
No, he's saying that with that dotted line, so the wetlands are at the very top of the screen. You can see 4 flags, or 3 flags there. That's,
Off the lot.
so they're off the lot, but the dashed line that goes through, kind of the first, with the back third of each of these new lots is a dashed line showing the 100-foot mark. So he wants that area excluded, and therefore they can't be 100%.
Okay, well, then that's their fight.
Yep.
I have my own opinion about that, but I was just curious. The wetlands are off-site, it's just the buffer zone that's in
Yep.
play here.
And not only that, but it's the 100-foot portion. So the wetlands regulation, there's a 25 no build, a 50, 25 no disturb, 50 no build, and 100-foot requires a permit through conservation. And so
Yeah.
if he maintains his determination, relief can be granted by the zoning board of appeals on the percentage, and potentially would need permitting with conservation if any work's proposed within that 100-foot.
So let's do this. So if that CBA equals 100% reference is removed in both lots 1 and 2, and a note is added that says CBA will be calculated, or how would do you think the note should read, Gene?
CBA yet to be determined.
Okay, CBA to be determined. We can, and it has the notation that we're not vouching for the conformance with zoning. Then I think we can approve the A&R, move it along. You can deal with the building inspector, you can deal with the ZBA, or whatever route you want to take, but at least you'll get your approval here. So can I get a motion to, okay?
Gene, this is within the watershed protection district.
It is.
So the only thing I'll just note is, it is quite a distance from the lake itself. It's, I think, 3,300 feet, but it's only 900 feet from a stream that drains directly into the lake. And of course, that stream is like an express lane into the lake. So I'm just noting
Yep.
that proximity to the drinking water
So
supply.
I did look at the watershed line, and I believe the wetland is in the watershed also.
Okay.
And so if the wetland's in the watershed,
Then
and
that's even
they don't do
closer.
any, right,
Yeah.
exactly, that's closer.
Right.
And they don't do any work within 100 feet,
Right,
they still have to permit within 400 feet of that wetland through the permitting process,
right.
because that would be the non-discharge zone.
Okay,
Each of these lots become brand-new effective the day of recording, and so they're held to the bylaw that is post-October of '94,
Okay.
which was more stringent than the lot as it exists today.
So likely if something new is built, to come back here for additional permitting, most likely.
okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so can we get a motion to approve to allow the planner to approve and sign the A&R once the CBA 100% notations are removed and a note is added that CBA is to be determined?
I will make such a motion.
Motion made. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right.
Go
Delayed.
ahead, give someone else a turn.
All right. Who did I hear from? Is that
It was
Kelly?
Kelly.
Kelly. Okay, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? Kelly,
Yes.
Alyssa,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Peter.
Aye.
I vote yes. That is approved as amended. So, Jack or someone from your office wants to make those correct amendments, get it to Jean. She'll sign off, and you guys can be on your way.
That's great. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Call me if you have questions. Okay.
Okay, discussion items, 2023 Planning Board meeting schedule.
1 second. All right, so as in the past years, we've tried to stick to the first and third Tuesday of each month. However, school vacations have been accounted for, elections, holidays, and so on occasion, it slides to the second and fourth. We've maintained skipping the meeting from National Night Out in August and moved that one to the second and fourth Tuesday as well. February is a school vacation week. I'm sorry, I jumped around a little bit. So February keeps the first, skips school vacation, and goes to the fourth week. April, again, is a school vacation week.
Okay. Anybody see anything of concern? It looks good to me. Okay, so why don't we adopt that as our schedule for next year,
As presented.
as presented.
So, someone make a motion?
So moved.
Seconded by Kelly.
All in favor? Kelly?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
I vote yes. So, Jean, can you remind us what our general timeline for warrant articles and stuff? When does that start? Pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, we usually, if it's, substantive change, then I encourage people to start at the beginning of December, to start discussions with that. Public hearings tend to open at the second meeting in February, I think, if I remember right. 3 of those every year through March.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and then the printing and all that has to occur, so.
Okay. Meeting minutes. Can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 20th?
So moved.
Motion made. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second, Kelly. All right. All in favor? Kelly?
Yes.
Alyssa?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
And I vote yes. Okay. I think that's everything on our
One,
agenda tonight. How was lake cleanup?
One quick item, lake cleanup. Thank you.
Look at that segue.
Wow. Yeah, I thought it went pretty well. We all missed Gene, but we survived. And DPW director was there from start to finish, which was great, and a number of his staff. And I think we ended up collecting about 600 pounds of trash. My observation is that sadly there is still new trash added every year and old trash that we haven't yet got. However, compared to 5 or 6 years ago, the level of trash is markedly less. The volume and the concentration. I think we have to keep at it because it does keep coming back, but it's nice to see that the overall level is lower. So I think you could say we're steadily gaining on it, but I don't know what to do about why people throw trash into the drinking water supply. I just don't know what to do about it. I don't understand it.
Trash in general. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to go back to those littering campaigns of the 1980s.
But the level of the lake certainly was advantageous to hold it that early in the season.
Well, that's a great point. Thanks, Gene. We held it earlier because it allowed us to, with the low level of the lake, see the trash in the mud along the exposed shoreline and get it out. And in prior years, in low levels of water, it's all been obscured by the leaves. So the date was actually moved up on kind of short notice, and I appreciate everyone who did that because it really did make a big difference. You could just see it, and in past years you couldn't.
John?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just sort of thinking out loud, but, Peter's comments sort of got me thinking is I had read some stuff, a few years ago that relates to San Francisco of all places, but before it became a mess about 40 odd years ago, they had a problem with dogs, going on the sidewalk, which is, like a common problem in a lot of places. And they were able to fix the problem. And they were able to fix the problem by basically shaming people into, this is something you should do. So it wasn't that they were going to regulate it and arrest people or fine them or anything like that, but it was like, this is just what a person does. They don't let their dog go in the street. And Peter, I don't know if, you're closer to it than I, but how much of that sort of power of sort of shaming or persuasion have we tried at all?
I don't think we have. What I observe, and it's not a, valid, it's anecdotal, is I think some of the people who are strolling throw trash, but I think the majority is coming from fishermen, which just also strikes me as really weird because, if you're taking fish there, why would you want to throw trash? But, it's beer cans, it's lunch containers, styrofoam containers, it's, the styrofoam containers for the worms. And I know it sounds trivial, but over the course of a year, that stuff adds up. And then the styrofoam containers, they get beat up by the waves and erode into the drinking water and turn into microplastics, and it's bad for all of us. So I don't know that we have a good formula for doing that, John. It's interesting to hear that it's worked elsewhere. We have, some different groups who appear to be doing it, so maybe it needs to be tailored to those groups. I don't know. Jean, you look like you got a thought on your mind.
I mean, we certainly have plenty of signs around related to pet waste as well as litter and bringing things in, bringing things out. But as always, signs just become part of the atmosphere and people tend to just walk by them.
They do. I will say that the trustees put up new signage on the Wire Hill portion of the shoreline, and I continue to be a huge fan of their signage. It is so thoughtfully done. It's not confrontational, it's not wordy, it's not governmental, and I think the trustees' signage is easier to notice. It is more noticeable, but it's only on a small portion of the shoreline that they, have custody over. And I will also remind the members of the board that back when I was doing a lot of the trash pickup myself on the lake, it was not uncommon to pick up the, don't throw trash signs that had been ripped off posts with very sturdy bolting. A lot of effort gone into ripping them off and throwing them in the lake.
That's irony.
So I don't think the signage is the path to shaming.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might be interesting.
It's kind of a long game on sort of education and bringing in. I'm just thinking about the recycling program that they're doing, with the kids at school and the impact that has. I know just, anecdotally, my daughter kind of gets a lot more out of that, right, hearing it at school. And if there's a way to kind of incorporate in, the schools around, the quality of our water, our drinking water. This is, kind of a no litter campaign, something a little bit more fun than that, but kind of getting the kids into it. Because I know when my daughter tells me not to do something, she can shame me into it as well.
I like that. I mean, if we had like a, a lake day or something, like a day celebrating the lake, but incorporate it in, send something to all the schools so that all the kids bring it home in their backpack. So when you're cleaning out your kid's backpack, you see it, just something else to remind you in a, like you said, a non-confrontational way of, hey, how important is this?
I love that idea. And, we see the schools have a number of days with all the kids kayaking on Stevie's Pond. I mean, that's a different body of water. It's very close to the lake, and it is on the water. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. They walk to Stevens Pond. I mean, it's just this huge throng of kids, and the pond is littered with kayaks, being paddled around. It's great to see.
Yeah, there
I
might be a way to
don't-
kind of incorporate in the schools, or I'm sorry, John, if I interrupt you, but even interrupting or incorporating in the PTOs for some kind of event and education and kind of making, making the kids kind of appreciate it and bring the adults along.
I will also tell you, we have no shortage of photographs that show, just terrible concentrations of trash in the water and on the lake shore. And I don't know that that's what we want to use. I don't know, but we have a lot of those photos too. And it's awful to see.
Okay, definitely to ponder, but it's good that we're making some progress at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's positive.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded
Second, Kelly. All in favor,
Wait,
Kelly.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
with Kelly.
Kelly.
Kelly remotely?
Yep. All in favor. We'll start with Kelly.
Yes.
Alyssa.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Peter.
Aye.
I vote yes. Anyone who's not feeling well, I hope you feel better, and hopefully we can see more of your faces in person next time.
Yep.
Right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Thank you.